Hi, I'm Scott Rogers. I am the senior pastor at the Elk City Hub, and it is an incredible opportunity for us to be able to share some of what has gone on this past year with the Hub, especially if you're thinking about a hub, becoming a hub church or a sister church to a hub church, like we call them spoke churches. This video will be informative for you. We hope it'll be inspiring to you, and I just want to tell you a little bit about it so that you have a picture in your mind of what the Hub actually is. So a few years ago, I was part of creating culture of renewal. I was in a cohort with other students from Oklahoma, and part of that was to develop a vision. And so one of the things that I looked around our community and soon realized is that we were closing churches around Elk City quickly, and there were some others that would probably have to close simply because we didn't have enough clergy. The towns were folding up. But what was really bothering me is, where were they going to go? One Easter Sunday, I actually asked the question, I wonder where those folks at blank UMC, what was formerly blank UMC, where did they go to church? Did they go to church on Easter Sunday? And so the Hub became a way for us to say, let's do ministry differently. How can we, as at the time, Elk City United Methodist Church, how can we expand our reach? How can we reach further into Western Oklahoma? What would that look like? And that's how the Hub was born. It was born out of a vision that we wanted to continue to have effective ministry in every community that surrounded Elk City. So the Hub started. We began to have the conversations. We spent weeks, months at Elk City kind of priming the pump, talking about what this might look like. And then in late April of last year, 2022, we got a phone call from our district superintendent, Reverend Diana Northcutt. And she said, are you ready to make the Hub a reality? We were overjoyed, nervous, excited, scared. Because all of a sudden, this was going to become a reality. Later that week that she called, we got to meet one of our new associate pastors, and you're going to meet her in a few minutes, Reverend Kayla Burge. We also were able to add Reverend Terry Jordan, who was already on lay staff here at Elk City doing pastoral care. He actually now is a licensed local pastor, as a part-time local pastor, serving in pastoral care as part of our Hub. This took off fast, because then we found out we were going to be able to be pastors at Erick United Methodist Church and at Chapel Hill United Methodist Church just outside of Clinton. And so we started what we affectionately call our 65 to 70 miles of I-40, from Erick to Elk to Chapel Hill. And we've been doing that for a year. And what makes this so unique is that our churches are all autonomous. They still are who they are. They're Elk City, they're Erick, they're Chapel Hill. But we serve together as the Hub. Our clergy are a team. We all have roles to play. But when we do it together, we have found ways to do effective, powerful ministry in the name of Jesus Christ here in Western Oklahoma. I'm excited to show you more about the Hub.
I'm Nan Shiblam, and at the time the Hub was created out in Western Oklahoma, I was the SPRC chair. Scott started talking to us about the Hub during the pandemic, and it was a concept, and we were all intrigued. I certainly was intrigued. We saw his vision, and we felt its worth. Then as time moved on, the vision became a reality. SPRC was absolutely on board with it. We were concerned. We wanted to make sure that our pastors weren't spread too thin. And naturally, we had the concern that, well, how will we pay for all this? And will there be contributions from the other churches to help out with the administrative side of things? All in all, this has just worked out to be a wonderful thing. Our pastors embraced it, and we have embraced it, and we love what is happening. The financial aspects were worked out between the other churches and Elk City, and that's all working beautifully as well. We love sharing our pastors to be able to create more disciples and reach more people. We started out with one pastor, Pastor Scott, and he had a lot to do. Because we had lost an associate. So we then were blessed with a part-time pastor that helped us with various aspects in our own church. When the hub concept really started to come to fruition, we knew they could not do this by themselves, and we were going to have a full-time associate pastor. We were blessed. The DS brought us one, and now we have Scott, we have a full-time associate pastor in Kayla, and we have a half-time local pastor in Terry, and they split these duties. They look and they create a schedule, and they're doing it. They're traveling, they're working together, and our church has not suffered. We always have a pastor available to us, and we're just so glad we can help those other churches too. As a hub church, we did talk about what it was going to look like if we didn't have all three of our pastors in the building and accessible at all times. Because our pastors have worked out their schedules, it has never appeared to me that we are really missing anything. We have cell phones. We can always get a hold of them. They can always check in with the main hub church. It's not been a problem that I've seen. So here we are a year later after we've put the hub church concept into play. And I can tell you personally that I have not felt slighted one bit. I'm energized and excited that, oh my goodness, we're reaching other churches and they're getting a chance to see and participate in many of the same things that we are right here at Elk City United Methodist.
Hello, my name is Keith Allison. I'm the lay leader for Elk City United Methodist Church. Expanding ministry is something that I think that we've got to be doing. With the decline in memberships, partially as a result of COVID, I think it's paramount that we be looking into these areas. The necessity of expanding the clergy to other areas is pretty obvious to me. We've got to do it, and the way that our clergy is handling that is about as good as it can get. Well, certainly in any situation, you're going to have some people that are more involved than other people, but by and large, the response was positive. I can't think of a single instance of anybody being negative about the situation. In general, there was a lot of energy brought forth. As far as I can tell, everything seems to be clicking along. I know that the pastors that go always come back glowing with their experiences that they've had there. And my understanding from the people at the outlying churches has been more than positive. They're seeing new ministries, they're seeing things that they haven't done in some time, and it's overall positive. Absolutely excited about a year or two. Our goal is to transform the lives of people and bring Christianity to the world, and we've got to be doing things outside the box, outside the things that we normally do. When I first heard about that, being a person who has no organizational skills, I thought, I'm glad I'm not in charge of this, or I won't go anyplace. But I know that Pastor Scott and the other clergy here involved have those skills. And what I've seen of it, it has not stumbled in the least bit, but is becoming as taking on momentum. The future, I see this as beginning, the rock that things are built on. And I hope to see this spread in areas where it needs to be spread, where communities are failing and churches are failing and the Word of God is not being spoken. The main question is, are you about serving God? And if you are, and if you want to expand your ministries, this is certainly a way to do it.
I'm Karen Snyder, and my husband's family has been coming to this church as long as I can remember, since before I married him. It was established in 1893 as a brush arbor, and then I believe it burnt down, and then they built this church in 1946. The last year has been interesting. We did not know exactly what we were getting into, but we decided to trust the Lord and the Elk City Methodist Church. We've just been blessed this whole year because they have bent over backwards to help us keep our traditions and our love of God in this church. One of them is at the end of every service, we get together in the center aisle and hold hands and say the Lord's Prayer. We started this, I do not know how many years ago, but it's been a blessing to all of us. We do not know the future in Chapel Hill. That's the Lord's decree. So we will go where He says and do what He says. We hope to keep the doors open so that the opportunities are there for anyone. We did not know keeping the doors open would lead to the hub, but it did. God works His own way. We will follow. I don't see any downside to this. We can call them if we need them, and we do. We can run over to Elk City if we need to, and we do. It's just been a blessing. So there is no downside. I think this is the best option at this time. Now, what the Lord has in mind for the future is up to Him. But at this time, I think this is the best option for this church. It's always been here as long as I can remember. So it may not be big, but I think the Lord's here and He works here.
I am Joe Finley at Erick First United Methodist Church. I've been a member here for many years. We do have a beautiful church. We are now part of the Hub, which is something kind of new and unique. With our new Hub, we have had to learn how to do sermons off of video every other week, which they provide in a very timely manner, which is very awesome because I have to build all the PowerPoints and bulletins, and every other Sunday when they come in, they bring me a thumb drive with awesome sermons. This last year, with Scott, Kayla, and Terry, we also participated in Trunk or Treat, which that's pretty unique. If you've never been to a Trunk or Treat, then you need to come to Erick's Trunk or Treat and come visit us. We saw lots of people, gave out lots of candy, lots of toys. We had fun, and this year we're going to try the Purple People Eaters Fest. Not sure yet what we're going to do there, but we'll figure out something. With the Hub, We were excited because we were going to get a preacher. And not just one, but we were going to get 3 preachers. Because getting a preacher to come to Western Oklahoma on a regular basis is scary. Because we had to share preachers with Shamrock, Texas for a few years. Sometimes that worked, sometimes it didn't. Our fears were having not preacher every other Sunday, but we also figured out by having them pre-record their sermon, it was pretty awesome. So it's something that's working. And all 3 preachers are engaged with us. They want to be here. They want to see us grow. We're trying to figure out how to grow. And that's very challenging. I'm excited that we're going into year 2 of the Hub. And I know we will continue to grow. We'll have new changes. They might be successful, they might not be. That's how you grow, is you make changes. You have to take that chance. You have to step out in faith and know that it will work. I'm just super excited that we have the Hub. And we have a DS that was willing to take the chance on the Hub and go with it. And the Hub is, to me, very successful.
Hi, I'm Scott Rogers, Senior Pastor at Elk City Hub. That's Elk City United Methodist Church, Erick United Methodist Church, and Chapel Hill United Methodist Church. It's an honor to be the Senior Pastor of this Hub, to be the visioneer, to help put this together. It is an exciting way to do ministry. It's a new way to do ministry. Because part of what makes the Hub unique is that we aren't just a 3-point charge, but rather we look at this as a holistic understanding of ministry. Each of the churches remains autonomous. They are who they are. Elk City is Elk City, Erick is Erick, Chapel Hill is Chapel Hill. And yet they're served by a clergy team of 3 of us, myself, Pastor Kayla Burge, and Pastor Terry Jordan. And what makes this unique for clergy is we don't look at it like a 3-point charge, because we get to use all of our gifts that God has given us to do and be the best we can be in ministry. So we delineate the roles. As Senior Pastor of the Hub, my job is to be the visioneer. I look at the whole picture. I specifically am in charge of administration for Elk City and for preaching and the preaching schedule. So one of my roles is I deploy our other 2 clergy and myself to both here and to our Hub churches, so that we have a preaching schedule that meets the needs. Part of our role is that we go to our other churches every other week. And when we don't, we video sermons. And so we have a schedule that we put together. That's my role, is to help put that together and make sure all that happens. Pastor Kayla, specifically, she works for discipleship here at Elk City. So she runs all the discipleship ministries here at the Hub Host Church. Now her roles at Erick and Chapel Hill, she leads their administration. And that helps out a ton, because then they have a pastor that's consistently going to their administrative council meetings and helping them to vision and plan and fulfill all the paperwork and other requirements. Pastor Terry, he is in charge of pastoral care, and he does a phenomenal job of it. He takes care of all 3 churches. So if there's someone who goes to the hospital, Pastor Terry goes and visits them and reports back to us, so that we all know what's going on in our charge. If you think about that, it really runs more like a large church clergy staff. We all have roles to play. We all have responsibilities over the entire charge, but we have specific things that we are in charge of. And that's what I think makes the Hub unique and what makes it work. I look forward to you listening to our next two presenters, Pastor Kayla and Pastor Terry, as they talk more about their roles in the Hub.
My name is Pastor Kayla Burge. I'm the associate pastor here at Elk City United Methodist Church in the Elk City Hub. So when I came on here and was invited by Pastor Scott to just talk about what the Hub would look like, my role was not quite defined yet, but I kind of found myself into my role when I first got here. So my role really comes down into the place of preaching, teaching, administration for the spoke churches, and discipleship for the main hub as well as the spoke churches as well. And really that entails a little bit of everything. So first off, it entails of planning all of the curriculum for all of our churches for discipleship and how that looks for each church. So for some of those churches, that is talking about Wednesday night Bible study. For others, it's creating brand new Bible studies or even just small groups within their communities. So with discipleship, we are actually doing a lot of different things right now, planning on what we're looking at for discipleship in the future and what we can do as far as small groups both online and in person, as we have not only adapted because of this new ministry of the Hub, but because of the new ministries that have needed to happen after the pandemic, as we have people who worship with us all across the world. The rest of my job really comes down into some administration, so I kind of go over to each of the churches and run their ad council meetings, their SPRC meetings, those typical things that most pastors probably don't want to always do. That's part of what my role is. But that also entails of me helping with some of our smaller churches that don't have the technology of helping build their PowerPoints, making sure that they have everything needed for worship, including ordering the worship service based off of their history, as well as what needs they are to make sure that they're continuing to develop in their faith. So as I came here to the Hub, I was a little nervous because I'm one that's a planner. I want everything down to a T. I want to know exactly what I'm doing, and the hard thing about the Hub is you may come in and you don't really know what to start next. But going into year 2, after we have kind of gotten a little bit of the bugs out of the way in year 1, going into year 2, I am so excited to be visioning with these churches. One thing that I learned in CCR is we have to get to know the community first, but then in year 2, you're starting to vision and starting to put that apostolic action plan into action. And one of the things that I see with these two churches is we're going to be in this fall hosting actually visioning workshops with each of these spoke churches and what their vision is for their ministries and where they're located. Each church is a different church, and each church has a different community to outreach to.
Hi, I'm Pastor Terry Jordan. I'm a local pastor here at Elk City United Methodist Church and assigned into the Hub. My job is pastoral care for the 3 churches in the Hub, and it's an interesting job. It's been a lot of fun learning how to do it with the 3 churches. And as we took on ministry with Chapel Hill and Erick, the biggest obstacle I found myself was gaining their trust, to convincing them that someone that they just met, who's not there every day, cares about them and wants to be there for them and with them. And it took a good year at both of the churches for them to get settled with me, I think. And I discovered that a lot of that helped with that was being there. All 3 churches have their own dynamics that make them all exciting. Chapel Hill is an old, beautiful sanctuary and church, and the people are just right there close to you, and they're very engaged with what you're preaching and what you're talking about. And Erick is a little more spread out, but it's a beautiful sanctuary. And then Elk City is beautiful, and we have all our tools that we can use here. It's very exciting in the dynamic, and the fact that we get to go and preach series through all 3 churches, so that each church gets every sermon in a series. Our scheduling is fantastic, and I think the Hub system is a great tool for our conference and anywhere else. It's taken time and effort and patience, but I think we've got it, kind of rolling and off the ground, and it's successful all around as far as I can tell from all three churches. So I was pretty overwhelmed at first to know that we were going to be doing three churches, 70 miles stretch of I-40 was a little overwhelming, but it was exciting too. It was great to know that we were going to be in ministry with people, with new folks. I knew some of the Erick people from when I covered as a layperson over there. So that was great to be back in ministry with them. And really is looking forward, I'm excited about the possibilities of this hub all over the conference and even more here in Elk City, that maybe we could add more and just help the churches in our area to stay United Methodist and to stay open.
I want to thank you for watching our video about the Elk City Hub. I hope it's been informative, and I hope that as you process this information with your churches, that you will prayerfully consider becoming a hub church. It's a fascinating and amazing opportunity to do some unique ministry in the name of Jesus Christ. If you need any help, please feel free to contact me. My email is elkcitypastor@gmail.com. I'm praying for you. I hope the best for you. God bless you.